This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. It's all about community. Spirituality is important. PocaSPEAKS. This shit is not easy, but it's worth it. PocaSPEAKS.
All right, happy Wednesday again to everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me get all of this stuff out the way. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Definitely make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Memberships are available as well. So if you are interested in memberships, they come with exclusive perks and things of that nature. Go over to YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and the membership option will appear. If you're watching from Facebook, thank you for tuning in. Definitely make sure that you comment, like, share, react, whatever you feel is necessary. Share this video with anyone who you feel like can use these messages, or any groups that you feel like can use what we're about to go over or talk about. So I wanted today to kind of give an overall kind of understanding of spiritual awakenings and spirituality, period. I feel like it's something that is another topic that's kind of just skipped over. There's kind of like this, if you're in, and you understand what's going on. And if you haven't really had anyone to kind of sit down and kind of walk you through what's going on, or had any explanation of what's going on, then it's just like you just all over the place, okay? So I kind of want to give you guys some insight. Of course, I will always use myself as an example. I'm going to kind of walk through a little bit of what my spiritual awakening looked like, as well as giving you guys some insight on what a spiritual awakening is, how to kind of maneuver through this journey, because this is a journey. All right, it's a lot that goes on. It's a lot that we deal with. It's a lot that we kind of encounter as we're going, through this journey, and as certain things are being revealed to us and shown to us about ourselves and others. It's a fucking lot, okay? So I wanted to kind of take this time to give you guys kind of like an overall, y'all know I don't like to complicate things. I like to keep things really super stupid simple, because that's what works the best for all of us. Complicating things that shouldn't be complicated is just stupid, okay? And we don't want to do anything that's stupid. We want to make sure that we're operating out of, intelligence, okay? So we're going to go through what a spiritual awakening is, what it looks like, what it may feel like, some of the symptoms, some of the ways to know that you are going through a spiritual awakening, and just kind of give y'all some insight so that you can approach and attack your own individual journey to the best of your ability, okay? Now, of course, I'm only going to go through a couple of things on this live. I'm not really going to go super in depth, because we just don't have the time for that. But if you are interested in getting any life coaching services, mentoring services, if you need any assistance with your journey when it comes to readings, when it comes to consultations, when it comes to advice, or if you just need help and you just don't know what you need, but you need something, definitely feel free to reach out. I have a number of different services that are available for people who are going through their journey, people who are just starting, people who have been on their journey for a while, so on and so 4th. Okay, now of course I'll be talking about shadow work today a little bit. So of course my healing journal, my melanated guide to healing, my shadow work journal and guide is available on Amazon. You can either type in the title or you can type in my name, Shania Monroe, and all of my literature should pop up. The link to this is also in the description of this video if you are watching from YouTube. If you're watching from Facebook, all you got to do is go on my actual Facebook page and just scroll down and you should see the link to all of my books and any other literature that I have posted and that I'm promoting. Okay, now let's go ahead and get into what even is a spirituality. That's where we need to start, right? Because before we can even start talking about a spiritual awakening and all of this stuff, we need to first know what the fuck is spirituality. Okay, that word is another word that gets just kind of tossed around and placed over here and placed over there, and we never really get an explanation of what spirituality is, what spirituality even looks like, or how spirituality is actually supposed to go, or how we're supposed to use it in our own lives. So I want to kind of go through that. So the first thing that you need to know is spirituality is your personal connection with self and the world around you. Simple. Okay, that's what spirituality is. Your connection with yourself and the world or the energies around you. That's it. That's all. Okay, y'all know I don't like to complicate things. Now you may go look somewhere else and they may give you another long elaborate explanation. That's fine. Take what resonates, leave the rest. But I like to simplify things as much as we can, and that's just a very simple way to understand what spirituality is. It's the relationship that you have with yourself and the world around you. Point blank the fuck period. Okay, or you can say the energies around you, because it goes beyond the physical world. And sometimes people use world and you think physical, and I don't want y'all to think that. When I say world, I mean all of the everything around you, space, time, the spiritual realm. Everything around you is a part of the relationship, or has significant relationship or connection to you. Okay, so spirituality is starting to understand how you are connected to yourself and how you are also connected to everything around you. Okay, now when it comes to doing your spiritual journey or going about your spiritual journey, having what's going on? Okay, having that definition is very important. Okay, having that understanding that spirituality is about you and your relationship with you and the world around you is very important, because of the fact that everyone's journey looks different. There are no two journeys the same in spirituality. No one is going through the same exact things at the same exact time, every time, all the time. Okay, we all have different paths, we all have different destinations, we all are different creatures, are different beings, we all are different energies. So we don't have the same path that everybody else has to get to the goal. Even if we may have the same goal, we still don't have the same path to getting there, because we are all individual expressions of energy. We are completely different than the people around us. Even though we have a lot of similarities, we are unique energies, right? So because of that, everybody's journey looks different and everybody's journey starts differently. All right, everybody doesn't come into spirituality the same way. Everybody doesn't come to this place where they start to even figure out what spirituality is the same way, right? Now for me, I've always been in a spiritual environment. I tell you all the time, my mama is a pastor, my grandmama is a pastor. I was raised on the religious aspect of spirituality my entire life, right? So I already was kind of into it without really being into it for a very long time. And the older I got, the more my, individualism started to kind of take hold, and I started to make my own decisions and go through my own path and do my own things, which led me to this journey eventually, right? Of course, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, and it took some time, but eventually I got here. Okay. But everybody's journey is not like mine. Some people started this journey, after a divorce. Some people found this journey after a huge death in the family. Some people found this journey just because they was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Some people found this journey, because they stumbled across some information. Some people was introduced to this journey by somebody around them. Everybody comes into this journey for different reasons and in different ways, but we're all here for the same thing. Again, which goes back to the definition, which is to figure out the relationship that we have with ourself. And when I say yourself, I don't mean this physical body. Okay, we're talking about your higher self. We're talking about the real you. The voice that you hear in your head that sound like you, that's the real you. Okay? When you look in the mirror and you looking at this artificial body, because that's what it is, it's an artificial body, that's not who you truly are. This is just the vehicle that is carrying your true essence, which is the soul. Okay? So, one of the first tips that I can give in regards to spirituality, if you are just tapping in, and I'm gonna kind of be jumping around, but I'm gonna make sure that I keep everything super clear, okay? But one of the biggest things to remember when you're tapping into your journey, if you have already started your journey, or you've already come to the place where you're on a spiritual journey, right? One of the biggest things to understand is you are not this body. That will take you a long way on this journey, because a lot of times we get so caught up in what we see with this physical body and in this physical world. You are not this physical body. This is not who you truly are. You are the soul within this vessel that controls this vessel and tells this vessel what to do, where to go, how to move, and everything in between. Okay? So that's one of the biggest things that helped me with my journey and helps a lot of the people that I assist with my mentorships and consultations, and a lot of people, who learn from me. We have all come to the same conclusion and have all come to the same understanding that we are not this body. This body is not who we are. This body does not make us who we are. It is the essence that lies within this body. It is the soul that makes us exactly who we are. Okay? So keep that in your pocket. That's something to remember. Now let's get back to, what is spirituality and all of that good stuff. So again, spirituality is what? The way that you connect with yourself and the energies around you. So now that we have an understanding of what spirituality is, and we broke it down into a real stupid, simple definition, now we can kind of get into what that starts to look like. So like I said, you can be brought to this journey in many different ways, right? No one's journey looks the same, which is why it is so important to know from the beginning that you need to keep your eyes on your journey. I cannot stress that enough. Don't be one of those people, okay, that comes into spirituality with a group of people and you feel like you and this group of people need to stay on the same page the whole time. Or you start to compare yourself to these other people who you may have started the journey with. Or even if you don't start the journey with other people, you get on your journey and then you start looking at people who are further along on their journey, or who may have been doing it for a little while longer, okay, or who may be new, or whatever the case is, and you start to compare your journey to theirs. Or you look at their journey for information of what you need to do next. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. If you want to stress yourself the fuck out, okay? If you want to be all over the place, if you want to make this journey as hard as possible, then do that. But if you want that shit to go the way it's supposed to go for you, then I'm going to need you to not be looking at nobody else's journey. I'm going to need you to not be looking at what nobody else is doing. I'm going to need you to stay super focused on your own journey. Point blank, period. That is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they come into spirituality, or they start trying to figure this spiritual thing out. They look at somebody who they feel like has been on their journey for a while. They look at someone who they feel like, knows more than they do at the moment. And they go to these people, or they just pay attention to what these people are doing, and they try to mirror these people. Don't do that. Okay? And I know you may be like, well, why the fuck wouldn't I do that? If I see somebody doing something, and it's working, then why wouldn't I do it too? Because they're doing what's working for them. It may not work for you. And the moment that you start trying to do stuff other people are doing to make it work for you, you're boxing yourself in, and you're distracting yourself from what you should be paying attention to. Message. Okay? I wish I had my bell. Message. Please don't take that lightly. I can't stress to you enough how many people may be doing well on their journey, and then they start looking at somebody else, start comparing themselves to somebody else, and then everything goes to shit. I cannot stress that enough. Okay? When I first started, I was looking at other people's shit too, comparing my journey to other people's journey, and that put me in a state of worry, of stress. Okay, because I'm constantly like, okay, well, I'm doing what they're doing. Why am I not getting the same results? Now I'm questioning myself. Now I'm questioning this journey. Now I'm questioning everything because I am paying attention to somebody else's shit. Don't do it. Okay? Keep your eyes on your prize, and that's it. Now, there's a difference between trying to mirror someone's journey and doing everything they're doing, right? Versus listening to some of the advice that they're giving, right? Maybe paying attention to a couple of things that they're doing and then seeing if it resonates for you. Okay? Now, if you see somebody doing something and you feel compelled, you feel led, you feel like this is something that you need to do and it will be beneficial for you, then cool. But if you're doing it only because you see them doing it, that's where the problem lies. Okay? So pay attention to your journey and your journey only until you get little tips or little downloads and things of that nature that resonate, and then you can pick up and go ahead and move forward. All right? Now, a lot of people are, and I have to talk about this specific topic or this specific point, because a lot of people are coming from religion. All right? And I got to talk to y'all real fast. If you are somebody who has found this journey, or you're at the threshold of this journey, meaning you haven't fully crossed over into it yet, you're still just kind of in this place of limbo. That's kind of what I call it, where you're in between belief systems. You don't know if you want to stay where you at or move forward, okay? Or you're a little afraid to move forward, so your feet kind of stuck to the ground and you just don't know what to do right now. You're kind of just in limbo, okay? Now, I was there at one point as well. Like I said, my grandmother's a pastor, my mother's a pastor. I was a devout Christian, Pentecostal to be specific. Okay, that's the blackest of the blackety black of Christians. Okay, that's the Christians that's in church for 14 hours. That's the Christians that walk, run around the church screaming and shouting. That's the Christians that will spend 45 minutes on praise and worship and go to several different services after the first service on Sundays. That's the Christians that eat, sleep, and breathe Jesus, Jonathan, Demarcus Christ. Okay? And they love that man. They love that man, and they will beat you up over that man. That's them type of Christians. I was raised by them type of Christians. Okay? If you wasn't for the church, you wasn't for the family type of Christians. That's where I come from. That's the background that I come from. So I understand any and everybody who is coming from religion or coming from Christianity specifically, especially if you have family members that are high ranking in the church. Baby, I understand. Okay? And let me say this. Most of us who come from religious backgrounds, one of the main things that we struggle with spirituality is, what is going on? Why I keep reconnecting? Okay. Y'all, sometimes my Wi-Fi be reconnecting and it, whatever. But one of the biggest things that we struggle with coming from the church or coming from a religious background and moving into spirituality is usually the whole God thing, right? What God is, who God is, the idea or the belief behind God, right? Because when you in church, God is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end. Okay, He is the one who woke you up this morning and started you on your way. All right, that's what we learn when we coming from church. But when you get over here into this spiritual community, when you start, broadening your horizons and taking a step outside of the doors of the Lord, and you start looking around, you see all of these niggas calling themselves gods, and you like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, very confusing, very confusing. Okay, and I gotta speak on this because there's a lot of us who are coming from religion who are tapping into spirituality, and that's usually where we get the most hang up at. Okay, is the whole God thing. What is God? Who is God? What the fuck going on, right? So I'm going to explain it the way that I always explain it. Some of you guys may have heard me explain it in this particular way before. If you have not, then I'm about to go into it. Now, We have been taught for a very, very long time as Black people, and I'm speaking on African Americans, okay? I'm not speaking on just the whole diaspora of melanated people. Right now, specifically, I'm talking about the people who were here and were a product of slavery, and were a product of, the demise of the Native Americans, okay? The Black Americans, that quote unquote African Americans, right? We have been taught since we were young, especially if you grew up in a religious home or if you just had a religious grandma, because for a lot of us, it was just our grandmamas, right? We were taught that God is outside of us, right? That God is he sits high, he looks low. I sound like my grandmother, but this is what I've been taught my whole life, right? God is the master of all. He created all. He specifically is also another thing, right? The pronoun he. We've always known or have been taught that God was a man and he sits in the sky, and the devil was down below, and God made everything and he's the ruler of all, and everything in between, right? As far into it as you want to go. But when you come into spirituality, the first thing that they come out telling you is you are a God. Now, when I heard this shit, okay, now mind you, I had my spiritual awakening about almost 4 or 5 years ago. My official awakening. There were little things happening before, and I'm gonna get into that as well. But when I officially turned over a new leaf and completely left the church behind, is going on about 4 or 5 years, right? So when I started to do my research and I'm hearing all these people refer to themselves as God, the Christian part of me that was still in me didn't really feel comfortable with that, right? Because I had always been taught since I was a little child that nobody is above God, right? That God is a person or a spirit that, lives in us, but also lives outside of us. Okay. And controls everything and is responsible for everything, right? So the idea of hearing that God was me and not outside of me was triggering, right? It triggered the fear, the Christian fear in me immediately, because I ain't never heard no shit like that coming from a Pentecostal church. Like I said, these people be in church for 45 hours with amazing energy. Okay, my grandmama is 75 now, and baby, she just got her knee replaced, and she can still run up and down them aisles and shout down. Okay, these people have energy forever because they're always running and jumping around. So me coming from that type of background to being told that I am God was like culture shock. They might as well have put me in the middle of a town surrounded by Caucasians, because that's how I felt. It was a culture shock. I didn't know about that life, right? So it was very hard for me to try to understand what that actually meant. And for me, I'm a Gemini, I'm an air sign. So it gotta be logical and it gotta make sense. If it doesn't logically make sense to me or my brain, I can't get jiggy with that shit. I don't care who's talking about it, who's promoting it. I don't give a damn. If it's not making no logical sense in my head, I can't get down with that, and I'm just not going to accept that until it makes sense. Until it makes sense, don't look for me to accept it, right? So what helped me start to really understand what people were saying when they said that we are gods, I had to use that same religion, right, to have a better understanding. And you're probably like, what do you mean you use Christianity to understand that better? Well, one thing I learned tapping in, and this is when you get into the information space of your spiritual journey, okay? Your spiritual journey usually starts off with some type of something that sparks you to kind of wake up. This is why we call it an awakening, because you just minding your business. It's kind of like being on cruise control, and life is just life. And then one day something changes. Now that's something for everybody looks different, right? It can be one day you wake up and you just tired. It can be one day you hear some information and it just kind of triggers something in you. It could be one day you watching something and they say something that resonates. It could be it usually just starts with a random like light bulb moment, a random spark or a random shift. Okay, that's usually how your spiritual awakening starts, right? For some of us, it could be, you go through a really tragic experience. And tragedy doesn't just mean like death or anything. You could have lost a relationship or a divorce or, something like that, right? That's usually what kind of triggers our attention to even know that we're kind of going through something different or something different is happening. Okay. Now, after that initial spark, that initial change, that initial light bulb moment, little things start to happen. Okay. So this is how you kind of start knowing, okay, I'm going through a spiritual awakening, or, something within me is being awakened. Number one, you're going to have a desire to know more about yourself. That's number one. Okay? You want to know more about you. And that sounds crazy as hell until it don't. Okay? It sounds crazy until it don't. Okay? Until you experience it, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, right? But you want to do a deep dive on you, right? Who am I? Where did I come from? What did I experience? Okay? For a lot of people, this shows up in the form of traumas coming to the surface. Now you're starting to understand more things or even see things about yourself that you didn't see before. So it's like one day you wake up and you realize, I do actually have problems. Okay, like for me, part of my spiritual awakening, I woke up one day and was like, damn, I do have an attitude problem. Now, people have been telling me for years that I need to work on my attitude, and baby, I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. Because in Poca's head, I was just telling people like it is. Okay, I was just giving them the truth. I've always been the bearer of truth. Okay, and I'm dubbed that in my family, and that's okay. But I didn't realize how much of a problem I was until one day it just was there. It just happens, right? You cannot control when you start your spiritual journey or when you awaken. You have no control over that in this physical realm. Okay? For a lot of us, we decided before we came here when we was going to awaken and things of that nature. But by the time you get here, you don't remember that the date and the time that you scheduled for you to wake up, right? So it's all new. It's like you just, shit just is starting to get shown to you. Another sign that you can tell that you are either starting your spiritual journey or starting your spiritual awakening or have awakened spiritually is everything around you seems to fall apart. The relationships that you usually are in, the job that you usually going to, different things in your life just seem to start going wrong. Okay, or feels like it's going wrong. You can be getting separated from people, long-term relationships ending, that type of thing. It could just seem like you just got bad luck. Sometimes I just feel like, damn, I just got bad luck. Every time I leave the house, something fuck up. Maybe I just need to sit the fuck down and stay in the house. It's like everything starts to kind of go wrong. And this doesn't happen for everybody, but it is one of, the biggest telltale signs for certain people. Shit just starts to go haywire. Okay, it's like the connections that you used to have, they just don't connect no more. And then another thing is you start to see the same people that you used to being around, and you see around, you start to see them differently. So you start to look at your relationships in a different light. You start to see people in a light that you've never seen them in, or you start to see things from perspectives that you have never considered, right? That's usually when you are going through a spiritual awakening. Now, why do we call it a spiritual awakening? Because your soul is waking the fuck up. Okay? Like I said, we are kind of on cruise control. All right? We're kind of on fucking cruise control until this point. Some people die on cruise control, right? Where you have no conscious understanding of what's going on with you or with the world around you. Right? Going back to that first definition. You're not conscious. You're just moving and grooving. You're going with the laws of society. You're kind of just in these relationships. You're kind of just dealing with shit. You're kind of just going through shit until you wake up one day and you see everything for what it is. It's like it's like a new pair of glasses. Okay? It's like you get these motherfucking glasses and everything just starts to look different. Okay, everything starts to look different, everything starts to feel different. Okay, for other people, it can come in the form of wanting to better yourself. So now all of a sudden you want a health kick, or all of a sudden your body no longer wants certain foods or things that you're putting into it, or all of a sudden you want to go to a bookstore. You ain't read a book since you was in sixth grade, but all of a sudden you want to take your ass to a bookstore and start looking at stuff, and it's usually you're looking at things, with subjects that you don't really usually look into. Like now, all of a sudden, you want to look into science. You never liked science. When you was in school, you hated science, right? But now, all of a sudden, you want to go study science, okay? Or you want to look into the breakdown of religion. When before you didn't even give a fuck about the breakdown of religion, but now you want to look into that, or now you want to study the stars, or now you want to figure out we have a flat earth or a round earth, or now you want to, it's like certain things that you did not give a fuck about, certain things that probably didn't even exist in your space and your energy. Now you desire information. Okay, now you are desiring information. Now you're desiring knowledge. Okay, now you want to know the things that you didn't care about knowing before, right? That's another sign of your spiritual awakening. Okay, another thing is you get detached, right? You go into what we call hermit mode. You don't want to be around the people that you usually want to be around. You don't want to talk to the people that you usually want to talk to. You don't want to be around nobody at all. Okay, some of you guys may even think that you are depressed because of the fact that you don't want to be around your normal environments. You kind of want to lounge around or lay on the couch or lay in the bed or sleep a lot. Okay, sleeping a lot is also a sign of spiritual awakening if you don't normally do things like that. Okay, and now if you normally sleeping all the time, then I mean, that's just your norm. But if you don't be sleeping like that and all of a sudden you dead tired during the day, that's another sign, because usually what that means is you are receiving something in the spiritual realm, and that's why you're so tired, because you're going in the spiritual realm to receive whatever you need to bring into this physical realm. Okay, when you wake up, that's why sometimes we go to sleep and we sleep for days and days and days, and then we wake up one day and we just know shit, and we don't know where we got this information from. We don't know where it came from. You got that information from the spiritual realm while your ass was physically knocked the fuck out. Your spirit was over there doing some work and getting some information and tapping the fuck in on your behalf. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that spiritual awakenings look for other people. That's why I say it's all different, right? It's all customized to you, who you are, and where you currently are in your life and on your journey. Okay, now, going back to people who are leaving religion and the whole idea of God, right? Now, the reason why we spiritual people say that we are gods, right? And I'm gonna break it down and give y'all this analogy that has worked since I started saying it, and it really helps people understand. When I said I had to go back to religion to understand, that's exactly what I mean. In the Bible, for me as a Christian, in the Bible, it says that it's a couple scriptures that talk about God living within us. Then you had Jesus say that, all of the things that he can do, you can do those and greater. There's so many different scriptures in regards to us being gods. There's even a literal scripture that says that we are gods in the Bible. Can't remember what chapter it said. But I had to go back to the Bible because in the beginning, I was still so afraid of accepting certain things because I still had that whole heaven and hell thing in the back of my mind, right? As like the devil on my shoulder. Even though I'm learning all of these new things, and again, I'm an air sign, so I like to deep dive information. So even though I'm learning all these new things and I'm being exposed to all this new information, a part of me was still kind of rejecting it, not because it was wrong, but because of where I came from, because of how long I've been in that former energy, right? So it was a battle in the beginning of me really understanding what spirituality was, because I couldn't at the time let go of the fears that were imparted into me at a very young age, right? If you are a Christian, if you was raised Christian, you know that they was telling us about the devil and all of that since we was motherfucking shit 2, 3, 4 years old, since we can understand anything, right? They've been implementing that and telling us that directly. That doesn't even take into account what we heard subconsciously, at those younger ages, 1, 2, 3, or even infancy. Okay, because remember, as the brain registers and can hear information and absorb information when you are a fetus in the womb. Okay, so a lot of the things that we pick up on that we kind of based our lives off of are things that we heard in our environment or things that we were taught from our environment. So me first tapping in, I'm giving myself the space, right, to kind of learn, because I like to learn. So if you get me with knowledge, baby, you got me. So I'm giving myself the space to learn, but I'm also hesitant because of my background, right? So what helped me really understand and put the whole Christianity thing to rest was, number one, what I told myself was, and I use the Bible, right? The Bible says God's word will never come back void. That means that you can go anywhere, you can go to any part of this earth, any part of this world, and God's word is going to be God's word. That's what I was taught my whole life, right? So I gave myself permission by saying, if the Bible is true, if Christianity is true, if all of the things that I've been taught all of my life about God and Jesus and everybody else is true, then I can go out here and do all of the research that I want. It's going to bring me back to Christianity. Because that's what that means, right? That means I can go out here and study whatever I want to study. It's going to all tie back into Christianity if it is correct, right? So that was the first time I gave myself permission to even really start to dive deeper into knowledge and information and esoteric knowledge and historical, religious knowledge and things of that nature. Because I said, okay, well, if God is right and his word is right, I can go anywhere and it's still going to be right. I can study anything and it's still going to be right. No matter where I go, it's going to bring me back to this word if this word is true. Because that's how facts work, right? If a fact is a fact, it don't matter where you go, how you break it down, how you figure it out, how you decipher it, it's still going to be fact, because that's just what it is. The truth will always be the truth, and there's nothing you can do to take away from it. And you can run as many different experiments as you want. The truth will still come back as the truth because it is the truth, right? So in my head, that was me giving myself permission to go on and figure out what is truth, right? Then I also started to break things down, like, the historical knowledge that we have in regards to slavery. Well, it is a fact that the only book slaves were able to read was the Bible. Now, for a lot of people, especially if you are of Christian background, that may sound like to you that the Bible is right. Like, if they wanted the slaves to read the Bible, then the Bible got to be right, because they hated the motherfucking slaves, but they still gave them a Bible. But for me, that put me more on edge. Why? Because I'm a logical person. So when I heard that, I heard they didn't want the slaves to know anything beneficial to them. So why would they give them a Bible? That's what I heard. They never wanted to help the slaves not be slaves, or help the slaves move on past where they were, or to become better, or to be freed, right? Why would they want to free what they purposely captured? That makes no sense, right? So why would they give slaves someone or a God that could potentially free them from the hands of the very people who purposely put them in that situation? That just did not make no fucking sense to me. Right? So all of this is happening around the same time as my initial quote unquote awakening, right? When I finally was making a decision to study and to research and to figure out what's right for me, right? Another thing that I heard growing up all the time is you have to have your own relationship with God. My grandmother stressed that, preaching in church. My mama stressed that, preaching in church. My family members stressed that in church. You got to have your own relationship. So for me, I gave myself permission to research, because, again, I said if it was true, it's going to come back true, and it's going to connect back to Christianity if Christianity is true. But also, I'm responsible for my soul. Not my mama, not my daddy, not my granny, not my brothers, not nobody. I'm responsible for my soul. So why would I let somebody else teach me one of the most important things I need to know, which is teach me about how to connect with whatever higher power that there is? Can't nobody teach you how to connect, how you personally can connect with a higher power. That can't be taught, right? You can get tips, You can get advice, but you actually doing it for yourself is something that you have to go through for yourself, right? So I was giving myself permission to find out, what is God for me, right? What does that relationship look like with me and God for myself? Okay? So the more I'm researching, again, I'm taking the slavery stuff into consideration. I'm taking the, God's word don't come back boy stuff into consideration. There's so many different things that I'm considering, right? Now, what really put the nail in the coffin for me, or one of the things that put the nail in the coffin for me, was this analogy, right? Now, God is in everything. Every religious text backs that up. Yeah, I don't care if you Muslim, Islam, spiritual, Jewish, Christian, whatever. I don't care. All of those texts share the same common understanding that God lives in everything that is alive. Everything that has breath and life in it it has God in it, right? They all agree on that, okay? So when I understood that, I'm like, okay, if God is in everything and God is God, wouldn't that make me technically God? Right? So the analogy that I came up with when I started to, later on down the line, when I got into a place where I started to teach spirituality, is if we got a whole piece of cake, and some of y'all have heard this analogy already. If I got a big ass birthday cake, right? And I cut that big ass birthday cake into 4 slices. Did it change from being cake just because I cut it into 4 slices? No, it's still cake. It's just now 4 slices of cake. Instead of being a whole cake, now it's 4 slices of cake. If I took those 4 slices and cut those 4 slices into 2 more slices, now I have 8 slices. Now, did it change to being something else? Is it no longer cake? No, it's still cake. Now it's just 8 slices of cake, right? If I took a little piece, a crumb off of that cake, and I held it in my hand, is this crumb now no longer cake? No, the crumb is still cake, but it's now just a crumb of cake, right? So what it originally is never changed, but the size and the quantity of it changed, right? It's the easiest way to understand what God is. God is one energy source. That's it. It's just energy, right? Now, energy is split into a lot of different forms, right? You have electrical energy, you have human energy, right? We are energy. We are different fractions of energy walking around here. You got energy as an animal. Animals are energy as well, right? Bugs possess energy. Why? Because they alive. They moving around, right? The air is living. That's why we can breathe it and live, because it is living, right? Water, living. Fire, living. The earth, living. So all of these are energetic elements. Now, does it change the fact that they are energy just because they are in different forms, whether it's a monkey or a roach? No, it's still energy. It's just showing up in another form. It's showing up in different ways. And once I understood that, that's when my journey really started to make more sense. And I gave myself permission to actually go on this journey and start figuring things out. Okay, so for a lot of people, I wanted to start there with the whole idea of God, because that's where a lot of us get tripped out at, right? We come from a religious background. We come from a background where we understand that God is outside of us. So when you hear people start calling themselves gods, then you want to be like, well, did you, people always say, did you create the world then, since you're a God? Did you create yourself then, since you're a God? It's like, be for fucking real. Okay. No, I didn't create myself, but 2 gods did create me, because my mom and my daddy created me. So technically, yeah, I was created by 2 gods. And if I go out here and sleep with my future baby daddy, my future husband, and he knocked me up, I'm a god having a god. Okay? I mean, it's just that much fucking simple, right? Now, of course, getting into where we come from and the beginning stories of the world and all of that, that's a whole different ball game. Okay, right now we just focus on the spiritual awakening part, the beginning parts of it. Okay, now as you get more into your journey and you start doing your own esoteric research, and you start to look through all of that other stuff and you come to your own conclusions, that's on you. right? But we're just talking about the beginning stages of it, okay? So understand that. That's a really big thing to understand. And it's really helpful when you understand it from that aspect. That we are all gods. Not because, we are what they made God to be based on religion, but because we all share that same spark of energy that is in everything that is living. Okay? Now, another reason why we call ourselves gods is because we are the only ones who can create or destroy in our own lives. It's up to us, right? And again, this goes back to me using where I came from to validate where I'm going. Going back to that Bible, it says faith without works is dead, right? Now, this is when I start to use my logical brain. If God was so powerful, we wouldn't need to work. We would just need faith, right? If the God of the Bible was so powerful, why the fuck do I need to work? I just should need faith, and that should be it. You should be doing the work. God should be doing the work, right? But that goes back into what we were lied to about, and they never taught us that we were the only ones that can save ourselves. We are the only ones that can make something happen or not make something happen. We are the only ones who control our lives. Where our life goes and where our life ends is all up to us. Okay? People, get brought into this world and they take themselves out, whenever they want to. So ain't nobody out here, controlling your every move or making things happen for you. You got to go get it yourself. And this is why another reason why we say we are gods. Because if we go make it happen, it's going to happen. We can create whatever we want in our lives. If I want to be a millionaire, all I got to do is do the work and I'm going to be a millionaire. Sounds very godly. Okay? If I want to be a baby mama, all I got to do is go out here and be a baby mama. Nobody is pulling no strings for me. Nobody is sitting up in the sky, treat me like a puppet and making me do this or do that. No, all of this is on my own accord. And even if you go back to religion, it specifies that everything you do, you do. Period. You are responsible for all of the things that you do. That's where Judgment Day comes from in the first place, because you will be held accountable for all of your actions and decisions. Then it also says that God is the God of free will. Free will means that He's not doing nothing anyway. Okay, I can't have free will and a God that created my whole destiny. That don't make sense. You can't have the two, right? So if a God made my whole life and wrote my life out detail for detail from start to finish, I don't have free will. I'm just acting out something that was written for me, which don't make no fucking sense, right? That's a contradiction. Those two things can't occupy the same space. If I have free will, that means that there is no plan and I'm just writing as I go. That's free will. That means that there is nothing that is laid out for me. There's no plan for me. There's no, created life for me. None of that, right? I'm moving and making every decision on my own merit. That is free will. When I have someone who has already made a whole plan for me, detail for detail, action for action, thought for thought, then I'm not operating in my free will, right? So understanding that we are gods is understanding that we do have actual free will, meaning the story is not written. You are writing it. Every day that you wake up, you're writing your story. Every decision that you make, you are writing your story. Every turn, every wraparound, every 360, every 180, every, yes or no, you are writing your own story. You are responsible for your own story. Okay? So spirituality puts us in a position of power because now that we know we're in control, we can control it to the best of our ability. That's why I said you're taking yourself off of cruise control and now you are manually figuring out where you want to go, how you want to go, how you going to get there, and everything else in between. Now you are in full control, right? When you take, for example, when you're in a car and you put that motherfucker on cruise control, you don't got to do too much. The most you got to do is just steer. That's all you're doing. But the car is maintaining the speed. The car is got your brakes where it needs to be so that you can maintain the speed. Okay, if you're in a airplane, the plane is doing all of the maneuvering for you. It's flying itself when it's on cruise control. But the minute that you take that car for cruise control, the minute you take that airplane off for cruise control, you now can feel, right, the weight of the air around you. You can now you got to pay attention to your rear view mirrors. Now you got to pay attention to what's going on. Now you got to look at your speedometer and everything else and make sure that you're doing what you need to do, because now you are in complete control. This is why when you wake up from spirituality, or you wake up to spirituality, it seems like everything is starting to fuck up. Everything is all over the place. Everything is going crazy. Everybody is tripping. I don't want to be around this person no more. I'm sick of this. I want to move. I want to relocate. I want to get the fuck. I feel a lot of pressure. There's so much going on. Not because that wasn't already happening, but because now you're in the driver's seat. So now you are more aware of what the fuck is going on around you and what the fuck been going on around you. That's why it feels like such a, an abrasive punch when you first wake up. It's not because you've been in this environment and then all of a sudden things changed. No, your environment been toxic. Those relationships around you been toxic. Those people you were entertaining and intertwined with been toxic, right? That job that you was working never was for you. That state or that city that you was living in, you was never supposed to be there that long, right? But because you have taken your life off of cruise control, it's almost like you put them glasses on and now you can see. Now you are fully aware of what's going on around you. And a lot of people may take that as a bad thing, right? This is why when a lot of people start going through their awakening, they feel like they losing their mind, or they feel like their life is just in shambles, or they feel like they just getting smacked with all of these problems and issues, or they just feel like things are just not going well for them, because now they are aware of all of the things that have been going wrong. Now you can clearly see everything that was going wrong. And because of that, that abrasive wake up, okay, we start to think that we're wrong, or we start to question ourselves, or question our lives, or slip into a depressive state, or become super, super anxious because we don't know what the fuck is going on, okay? But all that is happening is you are now aware of what's around you, and before you weren't. You are now aware of the energies that you possess, and before you weren't. You are now aware of the knowledge and the truth that is out there, and before you wasn't. So of course that's going to feel like a lot. Of course that's going to be very confusing when that is not your norm. Okay, when that's not your normal every day, then of course that's going to be confusing. Of course that's going to feel like, a slap in the face, or it's just going to feel, tragic or whatever. Okay. Now that we kind of picked apart a little bit about what a spiritual journey kind of looks like when you first starting off, or some of the signs that you were on your spiritual journey, or that you're awakening and things of that nature. Now we're going to talk about what to do when you're first waking up, or some basics that you can do when you're first waking up, and when you have first made the decision to just be more open to spirituality. Doesn't mean that you are officially a spiritual being. I mean, you're a spiritual being, but it doesn't mean that you claimed it yet, right? The first thing to do is back away from any and everything, any and everybody, any and every environment that you do not naturally feel good in. And that may be super hard. And I know that's probably like, why the fuck would that be the first step? You want me to leave everything I'm used to? Yes. Take a step back. It don't mean that you gotta leave these people for life. It don't mean that you gotta not fuck with them ever again. It just means you need to take a step back. Because when you first wake up, this is when you're starting to be shown the things that are going to be super important for you as you're moving forward in the beginning of your journey. And you're not going to take those things into good consideration if those things are in your space. Okay? If the elephant is in the room with you, how the fuck you going to heal from the elephant? You got to remove the shit out of your space so that you can see clearly what the fuck is going on. This also gives you the time to go within. Because remember, your spirituality is about what? Your relationship with self and the energies around you. Your relationship with self is the first step. So when you're first starting to notice these symptoms and you're starting to realize, okay, I feel like I'm awakening, I feel like, I'm going through a transitional period or whatever the case is, the first thing you want to do is remove all the people, places, and things that do not serve you. And that's going to be hard because for a lot of y'all, it's going to be damn near all of the people that you fucking with right now. It just is what it is. Okay? So removing those things out of your space, even if it's just temporarily, right? If you used to being around, let's say, your best friend, right? Your best friend that you didn't have since y'all was in diapers, or however you want to phrase it, right? But you're starting to wake up. If you used to being around that person all the time or talking to that person all the time, it may start with you just kind of spending a couple days to yourself. Instead of seeing that person every day, you maybe see them instead of five to 7 days out the week, maybe you see them 1 or 2 days out of the week. Okay? Instead of going to your mama house every day after work, you need to go home. Okay? And this is not because you are being pulled away from these people because they're horrible people and fuck them. It's because you need to be in your own energy. Because there's things that the real you, remember I said the real you is not this body. The real you lives within, right? It's things that the real you needs to have a conversation with you about. It's things that need to be pointed out to you about certain people, places, and things in your life. And you're not going to be able to fully take those things into consideration if you are around the very thing that Spirit is trying to point out to you. Okay? For some of y'all, it may be a relationship. You may feel these people are being pushed away from you or taken away from you. Your spouse, your husband, your wife, or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or your situationship. You may need to take a step back. Okay? And this is not, again, because you may not get, these people are horrible or whatever, but it's because of you. You got to be able to hear and see clearly. Okay? Another thing you got to be okay with is being by yourself, because this journey is about you. And because we have individual journeys and none of our journeys are alike and they're all customized to us, we got to be making sure that we have a great relationship with ourselves so we can hear from ourselves and know exactly what we need to do when we need to do it. And the only way that you get to know somebody is by doing what? Spending time with them. It works the same way for yourself. When you want to get to know yourself, you got to spend time with yourself. Okay? When you want to hear from your higher self, you got to be with your higher self and your higher self only. All right? When you want to build a relationship with anybody, you got to spend time with them. Right? So if I'm out here dating and I see a man that I'm interested in, I can't just, think that we just gonna work out and we ain't had no conversations, we ain't talked, we ain't been out, we ain't been on no dates, we ain't been around each other, you know what I'm saying? We ain't you gotta have these type of relationships with yourself first. Because the relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have in your life. And because we were on cruise control for so long, or because we come from a religious background that tells us, cast all your cares to the Lord and he'll work it out, that don't help. That don't do shit. This is why you can go into these churches or these mosques in these different places and you see these people and they the same as they've been for however long you done been at these places, because they're casting their shit on something that's invisible. So they're not dealing with their own problems. They're not dealing with their own issues. This is why people in the church still act the same, but they in church every Sunday. How you in church every Sunday and you not leaving out a saint? You should be a saint by this point. Ain't no reason that some of these motherfuckers been in church for 20 plus years and they still got a nasty ass attitude. What are y'all doing in there? What the fuck is y'all doing in there? Okay? It don't make sense. But we not here to go in there. We not here to talk about that. But what I am saying is, the more time you spend with yourself, right? The more you tap in with yourself, the more alone time you get in the beginning stages of your journey, the more clear things will be for you. Because you are building that relationship with yourself to a point where anytime your intuition starts to tell you things, you can hear it, you can listen, and you can follow through. Anytime your energy shifts when you're in an environment, you can pick up on it because you done been around yourself so long that you know that energy is not normal. right? If I'm always around people and places and things and environments and I never take no time for myself, I'm never going to know when I'm at risk. I'm never going to know when I'm in trouble. I'm never going to know when I need to leave or get the fuck, because I'm not paying attention to me. I have no idea how I feel when I'm in certain situations. I have no idea how to pick up when I'm about to get into a certain energetic space. I don't know, because I don't know me, right? It's like being in a relationship. For example, if you've ever been in a relationship with someone who has anger issues, okay, you know when they about to go there. Why? Because their mannerisms get different. The way they speak may start to get different. How they text or how they act start to get different. There's certain telltale signs that you know this motherfucker about to lose their shit, or they overstimulated, or they about to go crazy, or whatever's about to happen. You know why? Because you've been around that person so long that you know when their energy is shifting. You know when it has shifted. You know when it's about to shift. You know what the fuck is going on with that person at every moment, because you've been around them so much that you have become familiar with their energy. Now, this is the reason why we put ourselves in so many situations, or we get to our breaking point, because we don't know enough about ourselves to know we're starting to get there, or an episode is about to happen, or our energy is changing. Okay, you got to know these things about yourself to protect yourself, right? So spending time with yourself in the beginning stages of your journey is going to help you get really, really confident on understanding yourself to an energetic degree. So you know that when you leave the confines of your home, when you leave that safety net of your house, you know where to go, you know when to leave, you know who to be around, who not to be around, and everything in between. Okay? So number one, you need to spend more time with yourself. Okay? Number two, you need to be talking to yourself. And I know you may feel like a crazy mental health patient. I don't give a fuck. Put some headphones in if it makes you feel better and people think you on the phone. Okay? I don't give a damn. I don't be caring. I be walking outside having whole conversations with myself, and I don't have a headphone in sight. They probably think that I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Do you think I care? No. Because you have to have conversations with yourself. Why? Because yourself will answer you. Nobody knows you like you know you. Okay? And for a lot of us, the knowledge may be subconscious because we never took the time to be with ourselves to know and understand that we do know ourselves very well. Okay? So talking to yourself, spending time with yourself is one thing, right? But actually having a conversation with yourself is a whole different ball game, right? Because yourself will answer. So what I used to do in the beginning stages of my journey is I would ask myself stuff out loud. I do this to this day. I just did it yesterday. Me and one of my best friends was talking about this yesterday. I do this shit to this day. So if something is going on, I ask myself, like, Poca, why are you doing that? Or why do you feel like that? Why does that piss you off? Why does that make you mad? Why do you act like that? What is the reason behind you acting like that? Why do you feel the need to do this? Why do you feel the need to say that? Why do you feel the need to act this way? Why do you feel the need to think this way? Where did you get that thought from? Who told you that? You know, I ask myself questions like that. Why? Because then the intuition gonna start kicking in, and you will hear yourself respond to you. That same voice that you hear when you reading in your head, the same voice that you hear, that randomly plays music in your head and randomly says things to you, and that intuitive feeling that you get and them gut feelings, it will give you some answers. Okay? A lot of people that I have mentored over the years used to think I was crazy when I would tell them this, until they tried it and they started doing it, and they realized that their selves will actually answer them back. They thought I was tripping when I said that shit. And some of y'all probably think I'm tripping right now. I dare you to do it. Sit in a room by yourself or go to a place where you by yourself. You can do it when you in the car, right? A lot of us are in the car by ourselves going to work or coming from work. A lot of us may just be in the car by ourselves going to certain places. Okay, you can go to a park. You can be in your house, in your room. Just make sure you by yourself. Okay, by yourself, so that you can hear clearly. There's no other voices distracting you. The TVs need to be off. Turn the radio off. Whatever you need to do. Okay, and talk to yourself. And then be quiet after you ask what you ask, after you say what you say. Be quiet and just listen. And watch all of these things start coming to your mind. You ask yourself, okay, why do I act like this? And then you sit there and get quiet. And then you can your mind start going. Well, probably because you know your daddy or your mama, or because you got an attitude problem, or because damn, that person was right when they told you that you needed to do this, and blah 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 blah. Your brain just gonna start going. And all of those things that you couldn't understand before start to make sense. All of those things that you didn't have answers to before, it starts to click. Why? Because you are the only one who holds the answers for you. You're the only one. Everybody else can give you advice. Everybody else can give you insight. Everybody else can give you tools. And I tell all of my clients this. I can only give you tools and advice. I can't do the work for you. I can only give you tools and advice. But when it comes to doing that work, I can't do the work for you. Trust me. If I could do the work for people, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do nobody else's work because it's hard doing my own damn work. But if I could, if I knew other people could do the work, I would give somebody else my work to do. Because this journey is not for the weak. Okay? Because you're facing yourself. That's what makes this journey so hard. It's different than Christianity. It's different than religion, because in religion you are relying on somebody else. If somebody else say no, you can just live with it. It's no, right? If somebody else say yes, you can live with it because it's yes. But if you tell yourself no, ooh, that's different. That's different, right? If you tell yourself yes, that's different. If you are the one that is stopping yourself from succeeding, that's different. It's easy to say that it's the devil's fault, because then you don't have to take no accountability, no responsibility. It's not on you. But spirituality puts all of the balls in your court, babe. Okay, you ever see High School Musical when they had the little cart of basketballs and he just was taking them and practicing his shot? That's what happened when you choose spirituality. They line up all them damn balls and put them on the cart, and it's up to you to make all of them bitches go in the net. It's up to you. Okay? It's not like playing it on a game where, you know, the cruise control can step in and make some of the decisions for you. Right? At this point, when you there in person, it's all up to you. It's up to your ability. It's up to your accuracy. It's up to your form. It's up to your position. It's up to your practice. It all falls on you. And that's why a lot of people don't like this journey, because they realize that they are now in the driver's seat. So if it don't happen, it's your fault. If it do happen, it's your fault. And a lot of people don't want to live with that. It's easier to say, if it don't happen, it's because God didn't want it to happen. That's easy. Or if it don't happen, it's because the devil stopped me. That's easy. But it's not easy to say it didn't happen because I'm lazy. Woo! That'll make you want to run away, won't it? That ain't easy. That ain't easy. It's not easy to say it didn't happen because I ain't shit. Woo! I've had a lot of those conversations with myself. That's not easy. It's not easy to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I don't know as much as I claim to know. I'm lost in the sauce. I mean, I'm swimming around in the applesauce, just lost. Cat in a hat. Okay? I don't know what the fuck going on. That's a hard place to be in, because you are responsible. It's all on you. All the responsibility is now on your shoulders. And that's not an easy place to be in, because you hold your own destiny in your hands. If you make it, it's because you put in all of the work. You did the hard stuff. You did what you needed to do. You eliminated the people you needed to eliminate, the thoughts you needed to eliminate, the ideologies you needed to eliminate. You did the work. You had to go through the trials and tribulations. You had to make it happen. You had to cut people off. You had to get into, uncomfortable environments. You had to take those leaps of faith. You had to be responsible for taking the L. You the one that got to face them challenges. That's a lot of responsibility, right? A lot of responsibility. But the end goal, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because when you get to the end, you can say, I got myself here. That's the beauty of it. And it don't feel like that when you going through it. It don't feel like that when life is showing you all the shit fucked up with you. It don't feel like that when you waking up and you realizing that everything that you thought was ain't, okay? It don't feel like that when you can't connect with your family members the way you wanted to. It don't feel like that when you gotta leave these people that your A1s from day one, you gotta leave their ass behind. It don't feel like that when every day you gotta wake up and make yourself get the fuck out the bed and get to work and put that work in. It don't feel like that when you make the wrong decision and you take an L and you got to take that L on the chin in front of people who are watching you. It don't feel like that. It don't feel like that. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel successful. It doesn't feel happy. It doesn't feel like an honor. It doesn't feel like light and love. It don't feel like cherries and sunshine and rainbows. It don't feel like that. But baby, when you make it, it feels like that. It does. When everything is said and done, when you move all the obstacles out your way, when you face yourself and you reach the fucking destination, bitch, nigga, oh, it feels like that. And that's what makes this motherfucking journey like crack. It's like crack when you do it right. Because the process of it is hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into it. But when you start having those successful moments, when you look up after 5 years and your life is different, okay? When you make all of the hard decisions and choices and you finally get reconnected with people who are really for you and down for you, oh, baby, it's worth it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it that it make you want to tap back in and get a little bit more. It's so worth it that you push yourself a little bit harder so that you can get a little bit more. So you just got to figure out for yourself. Do I want to be on a path, right, that allows me to challenge myself, that allows me to figure out who I am, that allows me to separate from things that no longer serve me, that allows me to put myself in a position to win, right? Or do I want to do what is comfortable? Do I want to do what I'm used to? Do I want to do what I've been taught to do and only do that even if I never make it to where I'm supposed to be? That's the decision that you're faced with in the beginning of your awakening. Do I choose myself or do I choose what I'm used to? Do I give myself permission to figure it out? Or do I give myself the only option of just continuing life the way that it's been and trying to make it work that way? You have a choice to make. And you're the only one who can make it. Nobody else can come in and do it for you. Nobody can come do the work for you. Nobody can break down all of the barriers in your life. No one can show you the exact problems and issues that you're dealing with on every level. Nobody can point out to you every problem that you have in your life and every problem that you're dealing with right now. You are the only one with insight. 100% insight on yourself. You are the only one with the keys to access those dark rooms. Imagine yourself as being a mansion, right, with a whole bunch of rooms. Now we know that sometimes these mansions have regular bedrooms, that you can tell, okay, that's a bedroom, and then sometimes these mansions have secret doors and tunnels. Okay, you got some secret doors and some tunnels, and you the only one with the key, and you the only one who know where they are. You may not consciously remember, but the more you dive deep into yourself, you're going to find the path to them damn tunnels and them secret doors. And you the only one with a key that fits. Nobody else can open this key. This door is fingerprint safe. If it ain't you, they can't get through. So will you leave the mansion undiscovered? Or you gonna go in there, you gonna put on that motherfucking flashlight, and you gonna go searching in all them dark rooms. This is when we get into shadow work, right? Shadow work is you finding them dark ass rooms and you unlocking the motherfucking doors and letting the bats out. That's what shadow work is. It's not the things that are on the surface. It's not those bedrooms that we can just identify walking into the house. That's too easy. Those things matter, yeah, but that's just the surface level shit. The real shit that affects you is in them dark secret rooms. that only you got the key to. And how do we start figuring out how to get to these dark rooms? Spending time with yourself, allowing yourself to let go of things that are letting go of you. Ooh, message. Walking away from things that no longer serve you. Doing your work, showing up for yourself every day. Facing yourself, looking yourself in the motherfucking mirror and pointing out the problems and the issues. Where you went wrong, how you went wrong. Right? We talked yesterday about generational curses and healing family issues. Some of y'all need to go back and watch that video because that's where some of y'all are right now. When you usually are starting with your journey, family and self is first because that is your foundation of who you are. You became the version of you through your family and what you interpreted, what you experienced, and what you picked up from that environment. So go back and check out that generational curses video. That should help. All right. So hopefully y'all got something from this. Again, if you want to do some more introspection and do your shadow work, my guide to healing is available. I constructed this guide specifically for melanated people who are spiritual. Okay. We don't really have a lot of literature that is for us, by us. And I felt like it was so super important for us as melanated people. It is unisex because healing doesn't have a gender. But I think it's so important for us as melanated beings to have our own literature, our own things that can help us and that specifically speaks to us and our experiences as melanated beings. So definitely go check that out on Amazon. Also, if you want to start with your journey, I do have mentorships available, 2 and 4 week mentorships. None of my mentorships are over $130. Okay, you can literally get 4 weeks of working with me one-on-one for less than $130. That is unheard of. One motherfucking hour of therapy sometimes is more than $130. Okay, so if you do need the help, I do have payment plans. I do also have specials and really, really low prices because I do understand that we're in a recession. But I also understand that we do need the help and assistance. So definitely, if you are interested, reach out to me. My website is currently under reconstruction. I'm rebranding everything. So the best way to contact me is via email or to contact me via my personal DMs on either TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Okay. Also, if you are interested in any readings, I still am doing the 8-card reading special. I have also added a 15-minute and 30-minute card reading special as well. I did a lot of those over the weekend, and I will still be doing those throughout this week and the weekend as well as we get towards the end of October. So if you are interested, definitely reach out because I'm only taking a couple of more. I don't like to do way too much and drain myself. So I'm taking a couple of more for the week, probably about 10. So if you are interested and you want to be put on that list, again, I do have specials with these as well. So definitely reach out. Other than that, please, please, please take heed to these messages. Share this with anyone who you feel like is in the beginning stages of their journey and they want more information or they, just need more insight. I hope that this kind of explained at least the beginning stages of spirituality and what it kind of looks like and how it kind of goes. If you want any information on pricing of anything, just reach out to me via DM or email. All of my information is going across the bottom of the screen. I do also have my information in the description of this video if you're watching from YouTube. If you're watching from Facebook, just inbox me. But either way, I hope that this helped. We will be back tomorrow for our Think Tank Thursdays. Not 100% sure what the topic will be for tomorrow. There's a couple of topics that I wanted to kind of touch on. So we'll see what'll happen for that. If you are a member, the reading was supposed to happen yesterday. It did not happen yesterday because I was super exhausted from doing all of the other readings. So I will be recording that today and it will air before the week is over. Okay. That's for the members only additional reading. If you want to see that reading, because it will pop up on my page, but you will only be able to access it if you have a membership. So definitely subscribe to my YouTube and then the membership option will come up. The memberships are very inexpensive, like $4 or $5 a month. Very inexpensive. And you get exclusive perks. I'm going to be doing a lot of exclusive videos for my members. Again, you'll be able to see the video if you're not a member, as far as the thumbnail, but you won't be able to actually watch the video unless you have a membership. So keep that in mind. Other than that, light and love to all of you beautiful people. Again, I hope you got something from this. Definitely share this video and this stream with anyone who can use it. Again, if you're watching from YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know whenever I go live or post any new content. If you're watching from Facebook, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you leave a reaction on this video. And also comment down below if anything was helpful. Share this video with any people or groups that you feel like can use any of this information. And I will see you guys tomorrow.